What's up, guys? Tim Little. Welcome back to Tactical Bass. In today's video, we are talking about springtime bass fishing in the month of April and the best baits to catch them. If you were going to give me just 1 month out of the entire year to catch bass throughout the country, April would be my #1 month. It's a month that the guys up north are able to fish. It's guys down south have been fishing. They're on the post spawn, but April throughout the country, you have fish in all 3 phases of the spawn, and that means aggressive fish. That means a good time out on the water. So April is an amazing time to get out on the water. You guys know that we love springtime. April is a fantastic time to get out on the water and catch a ton of fish. Now, depending on where you are in the country, like I said, you're gonna have fish in all 3 phases: pre-spawn, spawn, and after the post-spawn. It's a great time to be out on the water and a great time to catch fish. Now, with that said, April's kind of that transition month for us. Everything we've taught wintertime, everything we've taught pre-spawn, January, February, March has been all about the moving baits. Move fast, 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 right? You're moving, you're covering water. Now, as we get into April, we got kind of that spawn going on, post-spawn. We have fish moving up shallow. They're kind of finicky. They're gonna start getting into cover. They're gonna start getting into brush piles and reeds and that sort of stuff. So that kind of reopens the playbook for us to start being able to slow down and throw more finessey or slow moving baits. So we're gonna talk about that, but let's get into it. My #1 bait for the month of April is gonna be this guy right here, the A-Rig. This shouldn't be a surprise to any of you guys. You guys saw the damage I did on this thing all winter long. January, February, March. That is the tactical mini rig. We have the 6-wire flex rig, we have the mini rig 6-wire, we have the micro, we have a few different A-rigs that we've designed. Flex wires, but 3 dummy baits, 3 hooked baits. This is my #1 go-to. It's caught so many big fish for me throughout the years. April, these fish just wanna feed up. You got shad moving shallow, you got all sorts of things, bluegill, panfish moving shallow. An A-rig is hands down the best way to mimic a small group of bait fish, and it has caught a lot of big ones for me. So covering water, again, we're covering water, we're looking, we're casting, we're chucking, we're winding, throwing that A-rig, adding those reel twitches in every 5 or 6 handle turns, getting that ball to compress and expand is the key. That's why we designed it with that flex wire. But April is a great time to catch a lot of fish, and I don't know that there's a better way to catch them than the A-Rig, that guy right there. With that said, some guys don't have the shoulder to throw it. Some guys don't want to throw it. An awesome alternative is going to be some kind of underspin, right? Something with some flash, something with some vibration, something that helps your bait stand out from the thousands of real shad. Having that little blade on there, having that vibration, adding those reel twitches or rod twitches, or changing that cadence up of your handle turn, having that blade kind of die out or stall out, adds that flash, and it helps your bait stand out and get eaten when it's around thousands of real bait fish. But whether it's an exposed hook like this guy right here, or the owner flashy swimmer like that, Texas rigged weedless, again, get up shallow, chuck and wind, cover water, throw it right in the thick of the grass, right in the reeds, right in the cattails, all that sort of stuff, the bulrushes, and you guys will catch a ton of fish. Now, on the flip side, if you're out fishing a little bit deeper, you're fishing a lake that doesn't have a lot of vegetation, I go with the exposed hook. It's a better hookup. You don't have to jack them as hard on the hook set like you do with a weedless bait. But that's our tactical mini underspin on, that's that little Mayor by Crush City, an awesome little swim bait. But if I can get away with having that exposed hook this time of the year, I will. A lot of times I'll be chucking a long ways and my bait will just get heavy. You know, those fish come up behind it and just eat it. And as they turn to go away, having that exposed hook catches them in the roof of the mouth. And a lot of times they'll set the hook for you, or they'll hook themselves, and you don't have to necessarily hit them as hard or as quickly as you would with a weedless bait. But that thing is money also when you're up shallow fishing through the vegetation. All right, like I said earlier, now is the time where we start slowing down. We can start slowing down, but for the most part, I'm still covering water. I'm looking, using polarized sunglasses. I'm looking for staging fish. I'm looking for brush piles, for cover these fish could be hiding in. I'm looking for bait fish activity. I'm looking for all sorts of things, all sorts of those puzzle pieces to help me put together the puzzle of the lake for that day and what's going on. And then if they are spawning, obviously you can see the bedfish. That will clue you in real quickly. But again, cover and water. So a square bill. I have two of my favorites this time of the year. This is the Bill Lewis ATV. Now, we have fallen in love with this specific square bill over the last few years. It is really, it's the most weedless square bills that we've used. I mean, we've thrown it into brush piles, we've thrown it into branches and laydowns, and this thing is like the four-wheel drive of square bills. Having that, I don't know if it's the bill angle, the little difference of bill angle, how bulbous the belly is, the wobble, but this thing is a straight up fish catcher. Has a little bit of a rattle in it, not too loud or overbearing, but that thing is money. Now on the flip side, if we have to go shallower, that's what's so cool about a square bill, is you can adjust the depths that your bait is running, right? So if you need to fish in that 4 to 5, you're gonna go with a square bill. If you need to go ultra shallow, haven't found one better than this guy right here. That's the BTC 50 by Demiki. A little bit smaller profile, but more importantly, this thing can go less than a foot deep. It can go ultra shallow. This time of the year, when those fish come off the spawn, they're looking to feed up and they're chasing bait, a lot of times these fish get ultra shallow, right? I'm talking like in the dirt, like in the, on the bank, basically. This guy right here deflects extremely well. It's a bait you can burn, pause, get those directional changes, those deflections, but it's not gonna dive nearly as deep as this guy right here or some of our other favorite square bills. So having a few different square bills that run at different depths is key this time of the year, but those are two of my favorites. Now, sticking with crankbaits, let's talk about the Lipless. No new bait here. This is something we've been throwing for a while now. It's something that we've thrown in March and February. We kind of transitioned from the blade bait to now with something with rattles, whether it's a craw pattern or shad pattern or panfish pattern. That's the Jackal TN70. The 60 is great as well. That's just a bait that has great sound, good vibration, and catches a lot of giants for us. But a lipless crankbait can be fished multiple ways. If you're on a lake that doesn't have a lot of grass, throw it out there and hop it. Hop it 3 or 4 times, you know, so it vibrates 3 or 4 times. Just hop it, let it fall. As you get warmer water temps, you can get faster with your hops. But hop it, let it fall. Hop it, let it fall. Dong. They smoke this thing. Now, if you are on a fishery that has a lot of grass, now is the time where you can actually chuck and wind, right? Just like you're throwing a spinnerbait, burning this thing over the tops of the grass. Warmer water temps, more aggressive fish, up shallow feeding on bait, they will just come out of that grass and just annihilate that lipless. So whether it's the cast and retrieve or the hop and retrieve, a lipless is another awesome bait for the month of April. All right, one other bait, actually 2 other baits. I only grabbed one. April's a time where fish you know, they come up shallow like we talked about, whether they're in the pre-spawn, the spawn, or the post-spawn. You know, some of these fish are actually going to stay shallow. Not all of them are going to go back out deep. So this is where these fish kind of pull up. They hit the key isolated pieces of cover first along those transition points, the main lake points, the secondary points, as they're working their way back to the spawning areas. But once they're there, like I said, they don't all go back out. So now they kind of spread out along the bank. So now you can burn up the bank with a chatterbait, right? This guy right here, that's that Evo Elite, whether it's the tungsten or the jackhammer. All of those are great options for a chatterbait. I really like this Evo Elite with the painted blades. I'm going with that electric shad color. That thing is just lights out. If I'm in clear water, I might go with more, I think I got one over here actually tied on. So I usually run two chatterbaits at the same time. So here I have just an all green pumpkin. That is an awesome pairing as well. Let me get this grass off so I can show it to you. In clear water, if I'm around bluegill, I might go with something with a little bit of gold or some chartreuse in it. But again, these fish spread out, so I'm chucking and winding and having that chatterbait. It's fairly weedless, works extremely well around grass, through those bulrushes. It's an awesome bait to throw this time of the year. Now, with that said, if you do get a little wind, you can kind of put down the chatterbait and pick up a spinnerbait. Totally up to you. That Megabass, that SV3 is one of my favorites. Lighter blades, more of a finessey spinnerbait, something that you can, again, add those reel twitches to and get those blades to flare out and get back into sequence. But if they're up shallow chasing, a spinnerbait and the chatterbait are my go-tos. That about wraps up the fast-moving baits. Now, I hinted towards, in the beginning of this video, about switching over to some slow-moving baits. As these fish come shallow and as they spread out along the shallows, along the bank, I'm looking for key pieces of isolated cover, whether that's a laydown, a brush pile, might be a tule patch or some dollar pads or whatever it may be, something. Now is when I will slow down on those key areas and pick up a shaky head. This guy specifically, I'll link all this stuff down below in the video description. That is the magic worm, okay? That color specifically, Missile Morning, that morning dawn-esque color, pinks in the spring work extremely well. Several big fish on pink worms in the spring. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the deal is, but pink just works in the spring. I like the purples, the browns, oxbloods throughout the year, but this time of the year, I'm going with that color right there. Again, I'll link that down below in the video description, but some kind of pink 6-inch worm on a shaky head, something that I can throw into that bulrush, into the reeds, on that grass line or on that piece of cover, and then sit there and shake a little bit and then drag. Shake a little bit and drag. These fish will come unglued for the shaky head. Now, on the flip side, another awesome bait that I like to fish this time of the year, especially in the month of April, is going to be the Canterbury Compact Flip and Jig. Smaller profile. I got a little kicker trailer on there with some action to it, but it's a real small profile, but it's got a stout hook. And what I've found through the years, Matt and I, through the years, is that we will get a ton of bites on the shaky head, but it seems like more often than not, the bigger bite comes on the jig. You're gonna fish them the same areas, the same locations, but the jig just tends to get bigger bites, okay? Completely up to you, but a shaky head and a jig round out my top baits for the month of April. Again, it is a great time to be out on the water. You can still catch fish staging. You can catch fish up in the shallowest, thickest, heaviest vegetation, and everywhere in between. It is a great time to be out on the water. Again, I'm covering water with that A-rig or that underspin, square bill, chatterbait, spinnerbait, and then I'm slowing down with the jig or the shaky head, and you guys will have a ton of success. Guys, I hope this video helps you. I hope it builds the confidence for you to get out and fish. It's a great time to get out there and catch a ton of fish. As always, we appreciate the support. Thank you for watching. If you learned something from this video or you like this video, hit that like button. Down below in the comment section, I want to see what hear what your favorite confidence baits are for the month of April. Like I said, guys, we appreciate you. Hit that subscribe button, and we will see you guys on the next video.